Welcome to Step Up and Thrive, where you get quick and easy tips on business management, productivity, stress management, work-life balance, and marketing. I am Tuuli Paksi, personal development coach, and my task here is to introduce you to various ways to succeed in business while keeping your sanity. Welcome to the podcast. Today we are speaking about the power of delegation, and my guest is Ama Brew. Ama Brew is a best-selling author, a keynote speaker, a life balance strategist, and empowerment coach. Combining her BA in psychology, master's degree in organizational leadership and human resources, life coach training, and personal experience, Ama delivers a personalized coaching experience to help her clients gain more control in their lives, achieve balance, and design the lives they were meant to live, fulfilled, confident, joyful, free from what's held them back. Welcome, Ama, to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Tuuli.
It's nice to have somebody to tell how to find balance in their lives. And I know you have own story with burnout. So please, can you tell us about your experience related to burnout?
All right. Yeah, so I do have my own, experience with burnout. I started my career wanting to be a human resource guru. So I worked in the corporate world. I got my first degree in psychology. I got my master's in organizational leadership and human resource management. And it was hard, it became hard when I had twins, and my twins were born as preemies. So they were very frail, and combining my kids. I also have a daughter. So 3 kids with my marriage, ministry, work, it was very hard. So I kept going through cycles of burnout. And it was very frustrating. I always felt overwhelmed. I always felt empty, drained. It was like I was so busy doing everything for everybody else but myself. So one day I walked out of my work and I told myself I couldn't do it anymore. And that day I gave a 2-week notice, came home, started my first business, which was a daycare business. But it's so funny because I started going through the same cycles of burnout again. That was when I realized that the problem was not the corporate world, but it was from me. I was not handling myself well. So I did go on my own journey to wellness, and I am on a mission now to empower other women to eliminate stress and burnout from their lives.
That's great mission. I really appreciate that. And you have all those degrees and all that experience of empowering women. In your opinion, what are the usual causes of burnout?
So burnout is, it's a state of feeling emotionally, physically, and mentally exhausted. And this is caused by excessive and prolonged stress. So, usually I always use the analogy that we women or we human beings are like bottles, okay? And you fill a bottle with water or maybe a drink or something that you want to drink. You fill a water bottle. And the more you're drinking from this bottle, the more empty it becomes. So with time, if you don't refill the bottle is going to get empty. And the bottle is not going to be useful for you. So you're going to be holding a bottle. You try so hard, put it on your mouth, try to drink from it, but nothing is going to come out because it's empty. You have to refill it. So that's the same analogy I use for burnout. Everything that we do as women drains us of a lot of the things, I won't say everything, a lot of the things that we do drains us of some form of energy. And so as business women, as entrepreneurs, as solopreneurs, as people, we need to be conscious of the fact that we have to be replenishing our energy, because if not, everybody has their capacity. Some people have big bottles, some people have small bottles. So some people, it might take a year. Some people, it might take 6 months. Some people, it might even take 2 weeks. And then you're going to be burnt out. You're going to start feeling drained, empty, overwhelmed. And usually the little thing is because you're not taking time off to replenish yourself. So the biggest cause of burnout is a lack of replenishing our energy, because we give out more energy than we actually put in. And so we have a deficit of strength and energy. So that's the best analogy I can give of what causes burnout.
That's actually quite accurate analogy. So when the bottle is empty, then your bottle is empty. What can we do to fill that bottle again with refreshing water?
So usually it's, taking that time to replenish yourself. And it's not just replenishing yourself physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually, psychologically, socially, you need to make sure that you are replenishing yourself. So you take time off, and that's what I call self-care. Doing self-care,
Mm.
consistent self-care. And it's not just about, because usually when people hear self-care, they think it's about spending money or going to a luxurious trip to the spa or a vacation. No, no, no. I'm talking about everyday basic things that you have to put on your schedule, even if you're doing it 5 minutes at a time, to replenish that lost energy. And it's different for everybody. So you have to find out what you can do or what works for you. And then another thing is also setting boundaries. A lot of us take on more than we can handle, and we don't have any boundaries. So anybody comes into our life and they put on anything on us. And so we are busy saying yes to everybody else. And so we find that our plates are full. We are so busy spinning multiple plates, trying so hard to keep up because we've taken on more than we can handle. And another thing is delegation. Delegation is very important too. Learning to outsource some of our responsibilities instead of trying so hard to do everything by ourselves.
Let's go and talk about delegation. What delegation means? What is it? Can you please explain?
Okay, so delegation is just simply outsourcing your responsibilities, some of your responsibilities. So, when I talk about outsourcing some of your responsibilities on your schedule, there should be some things that you can easily give to somebody else to do or ask for help. Sometimes it's so hard for us to ask for help. But there are things on our schedules that we could probably just, involve somebody else to help us, either by either paying for it or figuring out a better deal of getting it for free, which I usually do with my clients, which I call the barter system, where you exchange services with another person. So you find somebody who needs something that you have and has something that you need, so that you both, you
Hmm.
both help each other. And that's what I have done as a small business owner and also being a solopreneur, because I got to a time I was doing my own sales, my own marketing, my own everything. I'm my own graphic designer. I do my own video editing, and sometimes it is hard, So with time, I've been able to build a network of other professionals who also are starting out and also need help in some of the things that I am good at. So we all help each other. So when it comes to graphic design, now there's somebody I can go to, and usually she would do it for me for free or at a very minimum price. When it comes to marketing, I was able to strike a deal with somebody, to work out a marketing deal that I don't have to pay for, but then we can share the profits. So there are so many different ways of, getting help and delegating. But so it's just basically outsourcing and giving out some of your responsibilities and the things that you're struggling with, and trying to find somebody to help you to, to get them done.
This kind of collaboration, this is a really clever idea. And yeah, definitely this is thing what we should use more often,
Hmm.
even if each of us, of course, requires some money as well for their business. But still, if you have your own services and you could exchange them with somebody else's services, this is, yeah, quite good tip
Yeah.
to use.
Yeah.
There is quite big stress caused by delegation, especially among solopreneurs. Okay, now I have to give something away. How to use that delegation in right way so that it wouldn't create any additional stress heading to burnout and overhead?
Yeah. So yes, you're right. Sometimes as small business owners or as entrepreneurs, we run the risk of thinking that we have to do everything by ourselves. And sometimes it's because we can't even trust somebody to do it. So I always say that when you're going to do delegation, make sure that that part that you're delegating it to an expert, somebody who is good at it. Because if not, what happens is that if you delegate it to somebody who doesn't know what they're doing and is also going to DIY, you're going to end up babying this person through this whole delegation process, because you're always going to be on this person to do it as you want it to be done. And so you should delegate to somebody you can trust to get it done, and somebody
Mm.
who is equally motivated to do it. Because there are some people that you delegate to and they're not motivated. So at the end of the day, you have to run around and keep asking them and, keep, following up. And, it just causes you more stress than you need. Maybe if you had just done it by yourself, that you would have had less stress. So I always say that when you are delegating as a businesswoman, make sure you're delegating to an expert, somebody who is good at what you're doing, somebody who needs minimum supervision to get it done. All you have to do is to show them what you want and they can get it done. Usually in the beginning, you have to maybe baby them a little bit, because you now started working with them and they need to learn how you want your things to be done. But after the relationship is established, it should get to a point where you don't have to baby this person. You can just tell the person, who, I need this done. I need it this day. Can you do it? Yes, I can. They do it. They send it to you and you're good to go. So make sure you're delegating to an expert. The second thing is, don't bite more than you can chew, in the sense of, when you're a small business owner, you don't have a lot of money. A solopreneur, you have very little money to go around. So maybe you don't have the money to pay a big agency, or pay employ somebody full time, to get stuff done for you. Because the best would be to have maybe a personal assistant who can be doing things for you. But if that's not possible, go for the best value out there. So you have to research and use, websites like Upwork, Fiverr. I do a lot of Fiverr, a lot of, Upwork, Fiverr, websites that have people on there who have the skill but are willing to get paid at a very, moderate price. So when you're starting it, don't bite more than you can chew, because sometimes that could cause a lot of financial stress for you and end up stressing you out. So go look at what you can genuinely afford, bargain for it, or go for the best value out there, and that way that will reduce the amount of stress that you have. So I believe that these are some of the things that you have to implement when you're delegating, to reduce the stress and to make it more valuable to you.
Hmm. And probably if you are really satisfied with that result, then keeping working with the same business will also make that delegation easier, because that person already knows your preferences and those how you usually work.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, that's a very good point. So the whole idea about doing delegation, especially if you're going to be doing the barter of exchanging services and all that, is to find that person that's going to be part of your network. The whole idea as a solopreneur or as a mompreneur or as a small business owner is to find your own network, your own clique of people, in different industries they're like your business best friends. That's what I call them. Find your business best friends. And so it's a relationship that you're building with them. And I've seen people do this, especially on social media, where you find that they're doing very well, because even when it comes to marketing, they all support each other. So, one person posts and all of them will like it, or all of them will share it on their platforms, and they
Mm.
replicate with each other. And it's so beautiful. And I feel like a lot of us women are in competition with each other, when in reality, we're supposed to be getting close and forming these kind of networking relationships to help each other, help us get better at what we do and excel. That's what women empowerment is all about. So yes, it has to be a relationship, as you mentioned.
So the bigger network or team you have, more successful you get, because you get automatically all these likes and supports from your network.
Yes, yes.
Great. And now it's time for our quick tip section, something that we do regularly on our podcast. And my question for you is, what is your own biggest revelation about the power of delegation?
I'll say that my biggest revelation is realizing that I cannot be good at everything in my business because when I started, I was trying so hard to do everything by myself. But there was one thing that kept stressing me out, which was marketing and social media. And I kept trying it. And one thing I realized that at the end of the day, it was causing a lot of stress. So I had to get to the point of realizing that I cannot be good at everything in business, but I need to identify my strengths and focus on my strengths and try to find people to help me with the things that I am weak at. So I believe that as small business owners, in as much as we are striving to do everything, we need to realize what we are very good at in our business. That way we can put our energy through that. And then the things that we are struggling with, we shouldn't be afraid to ask for help because you asking for help doesn't mean you're weak or you failed. It rather makes you a more stronger person because it gives you what you need for your business to move forward.
Those are really great tips. And I like this business best friend idea. I have some, and now I definitely look around to find even more of these kind of best friends. And I really suggest others, our listeners, would do the same. Thank you so much, Ama, for joining us and sharing all these tips. And if our listeners would like to know more about you and follow you, where can they do so?
Awesome. And thank you for having me. You can go to www.empoweredforbalance.com. That's my website. On Facebook and Instagram, it's Empowered for Balance, all one word. And I have a free burnout guide. It's a very good tool for you to check where you're at in relation to burnout. And also it has some quick action guide for you to, you know, make a plan to stay away from burnout if you're not, or to get out of burnout if you are burnt out. And that is, you can find that on my website, and it's www.empoweredforbalance.com/burnout.
Yes, and all those links to Ama's website and social media you'll find in our show notes. So please check all these. This is really very useful information for everybody to save themselves, keep the balance, and have happy and joyful business life. Thank you once again, Ama. It was really great having you in this podcast.
And thank you for having me. It's been an awesome experience.
Come and check all the show notes and transcript at stepupandthrive.podcast.com/4. Thank you for joining Step Up and Thrive with Ama Brew. I'm your host, Tuli Baxi. Tune in next week.